Basically, this message is about public safety. Um, at first, the things I discuss may seem strange or, you know, like, you know, I'm making it up. But uh, basically, I'm gonna just do my best to report the facts because at this point, um, trying to rely or expecting to rely on somebody else to do it hasn't been working. And so basically, my health is impaired. I have multiple sclerosis, some lesions, spine, brain, um, traumatic brain injury, kind of multiple times throughout my life. The perhaps the most recent and or severe was in 2005, and that happened after Hurricane Katrina. And this is the information is that I provide, or this is the important thing to get to understand or to get to be informed about is that I have provided information about you know things before they happen. So like I did have a lot of information about the September 11th, 2001 attacks, um, but I didn't ever formally, and verbally release any information about that to anyone because I just a lot of reasons. Any way you have any questions or anything or want more information, also have a blog at WordPress where it's a lot more text and stuff and a lot more detail. But the important message here is that was kind of the beginning, and it was difficult for me to process that as well. By about 2004, and even before that, 2003, and even while I was gathering information on the attacks of 9/11, uh, I was aware that there was something else more important, and I had focused on tsunami, and I knew even before then, from 15, say no to say I knew, I just had this, through the traumas and my experience in life and observations led me to kind of conclude that I might have an involvement in providing the informations for preparing for these things or knowing about them in advance. And so about 2003, I was still processing the failure of my ability to provide the information or just the whole incident. And I went to San Francisco there and still expecting tsunamis, but everything seemed more surreal at the time because of kind of like shock and also brain trauma a little bit even at that time. Um, and I went and I realized something. These tsunamis, they will occur, but at the same time, in 2003, I began to realize, through some sort of way that they would occur somewhere else first, that there perhaps might be a series of them. And so by 2004 in October, I was able to verify that there would be a tsunami and at that time I had the specific date pretty much squared away, December 25th or 26th, I was saying 2004, saying like a quarter million. Didn't know the exact location, but I knew it was not California, not America. It was other side. I was literally saying it's the other side because that's kind of what I was able to gather, at least from as early as 2003, around March, that it's the other side. And I guess that's the ring of fire there. And I don't really know too much about really geology or anything. I'm technically a high school dropout, and um, so I mean that could be part of the reason they don't like relying. But I don't have a history of releasing bad or misinformation or wrong information. As far as I'm concerned, it's like I don't necessarily have a degree in anything or anything, but my record or my track record or whatever you want to say is, if you were to build concern off of that, I think the concern would be high, because from about that time on, because at that time in 2004, back in October, I was actually in a hospital, and that was where I released the information. I told, informed, whoever the presidents or everybody asked to talk to attorneys or to have the rights explained to me and everything. And I walked all the way through up till, explaining even the Hurricane Katrina. And I don't just deal with details, and, I deal with kind of like political, religious interface and stuff, or theological interface, and of the events. And so, and at times, there's no feedback to me. It's like it was almost like I was talking to a wall. No one interacted with me. From that day on, it was like, I was even a little more apprehensive about doing anything. So, because I know, they do have, from the time I was 15, I was trying to explain that, when I had an accident, I had the dream before the accident, and that got me basically institutionalized as a psychiatric patient. And so in 2001, I was also institutionalized, and I was also aware of the pending the hijacking and the attacks of the airplanes. And it was basically, I basically processed it as, a kind of, to me, it was a religious event for myself as well, that, I was basically being used as, a portent, in that they were sticking me with drugs in the arms because I had refused oral medication, because I knew already what was up, as I was kind of like on a mission or whatever. And that, I was basically, kind of charged already, and I was so much that I couldn't express anything, and I just was quiet the whole time. And when they would stick me with the drugs in my arms, at times later, as it became more certain, I would fall down. And so in 2004, I'm explaining all these things, and I'm just saying, let's, nobody's saying anything, but I'm figuring I'm just making making a recording for somebody else to listen to that's, somewhere else, and I'm saying, just take this, and let's just kind of like start from here, like, you guys apparently didn't understand what was going on, and, like 9/11 wasn't a surprise to me at all. It was a little shocking. I felt guilt and, anger or whatever, and processing all. But at the same time, I knew I was looking forward to more dangerous situations that were, they the response, is more fundamental. So, like with the Indonesian, I was, at that time, I was, or the Indian Ocean quake there, and I was already concerned at that time for radiation release in regard to tsunami. And it didn't occur at that time, and, I wasn't sure how much the information I relayed was going to be applied, and who was going to interact, if I was going to be a big scene afterwards. And it was just nothing, as far as me, and it was just boom, no reporting of it. Nothing. In 2005, I was actually at the University of Pacific in Stockton, and at a dental hygienist clinic, and I talked to somebody there about the concerns, because it was right before the Hurricane Katrinas, and kind of briefly explained the situation. And then Hurricane Katrina happened, and they were kind of in there, and that kind of shook me up a little bit. And